What's up?
What's up, guys?
All right. We are here, and it's awesome because we've got David along with us. Got this all worked out, and now we got the Breedlove in the house. So,
Good morning.
Kyle, why don't you go ahead and kick us off, buddy?
Yeah, here we go. So welcome to another episode, guys, of Those Two Dads, where we talk all things dadpreneur, right? So Josh and I, again, both have traditional careers. We're husbands, budding online marketers, and we are dads. And if you can't tell, we got little ones running around the background. So dads. So
Come on.
Don't even worry about it. In one of the first episodes, my kid pulled down like the camera. It was ridiculous, so don't even worry about it. So here we talk about life, our experiences, and how they relate back to juggling and balancing a family while building our online businesses. Again, I'm Kyle. Got our man over here, Josh. We got a special guest today, guys. And so in this third episode, Josh, of 2021.
Second for 2021.
Is it our second? So, okay. Second episode for 2021. We have the absolute privilege of hanging with the renowned David Breedlove. So, David has been in network marketing for a number of years, guys. Built several large and successful teams in multiple companies. With his success in those companies, he's taken. Good grief, I can speak today. He's taken to helping other entrepreneurs, not just network marketers, learn how they can create their own success, just like he did. So, with the help of his business partners, those of you who've been following along with us, you'll recognize Eric and Fabian. He's put together Clever Moneymakers LLC. Within that, they launched a very successful coaching platform, and you can see that right there on the main shirt, called Become the Upline, which is designed to help network marketers and affiliate marketers become the best leaders they can be. So all that while earning an income at the same time. And true to form, he's done all that while wearing the old dad hat. So before we jump in, just real quick, a couple housekeeping things. Go ahead and hit all the hearts, drop us the hashtag lives if you're on Facebook, if you're on the YouTube streams, or hashtag replay if you guys end up catching it later. Be sure to tag or share these episodes with your favorite dad or mompreneur. We obviously love helping and sharing with others and appreciate all the support that we've been getting along the way and getting that word out. And don't forget, you can also catch them on the old podcast versions on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and even Spotify. So there's all the housekeeping stuff. Josh, let's get into it, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. So funny story is the last episode, we just improvised whatever, did what we had to do. But afterwards, I had 3 people reach out to me and they're like, please tell me you're going to have him rescheduled and have him on later. And I was like, well, yeah, of course. Like, when things don't work out, you don't just drop it. Like, you make it work, right? You figure it out. And they were like, we were so excited to watch it. And so, the only downside to StreamYard doesn't tell you exactly who's watching, and I don't really care to open up Facebook right now, but I'm pretty sure those people are watching because there's definitely been some hype around this one, and for good reason. Because David, you've got a trail of success that has followed you around for quite some time, and I think one of the crazy things is when I got to know you and I got connected with you, I had, at the time, I had no idea who you were. And what was crazy about that is once I figured out who you are, it blew my mind how you've been able to do so much with so little publicity. And I think that's super cool because, all these big names out there, right? People are freaking out and they're, oh, look at me. And one of the things I'm most excited about getting you on here is because you're out there going, no, look at all them. Look at all these people. Look at these awesome folks that are getting successful and all this stuff. And that's what's really cool about this. And this is why I've been hyped up to get you on here, because your servitude and your ability to pour into others with zero expectation in return just surpasses anybody else that I've ever come into contact with. And so that's super cool. But first and foremost, tell us a little bit about who you are and, where your journey started and stuff like that. And we'll keep going from there.
Well, there's a couple things about what you just said that I always found kind of interesting. And, you have to like come into that mind frame yourself, right? So like, obviously I've been in online or network marketing now for like coming up on 2.5 years. And, like the first year I did the same thing that everybody does, like I got plugged in with a local network, and I enjoyed it, but I wasn't really getting any good signups. I think like my first year between the two MLMs that I had joined, I maybe put 5 to 7 people into network marketing companies. One of which was my dad, which he didn't really have a say in the matter and all that kind of stuff. So it was just like, hey, Dad, guess what you're doing? So I did a lot of that stuff. Like I was focused on hitting ranks and what I thought was helping people, which would be like getting them to talk to their problems so that I could offer them the ultimate solution, network marketing. And but I tried to do like a lot of the things that everybody else was doing. I would start wearing like button-up shirts and just try to talk like other people. I was making videos on like the power of attraction and all that kind of stuff. And although I believe in those stuff to an extent, like at that time, like every night I was listening to affirmations as I slept. I'd wake up and like, put them on in the car and, go along with them. And, I did that for like a year. And by the end of that year, I was like $15,000 in the hole. And I was like debating on like which one of my 6 credit cards I was going to keep, because the other, I just couldn't keep up with that many credit cards. And yeah, man, I was just not feeling too great about this. I was constantly asking myself, like, can I responsibly keep trying to chase this dream, right? And I started to like realize, like, I started getting plugged in on Facebook groups, right, and just putting out content. And I did like a live challenge where every day I had to go live for 30 days. And, like, that was the challenge. Didn't really matter what, it was just to kind of get you into that way. And it's funny, like about halfway through it, I started running out of bubblegum stuff to talk about, and right around then I just, I started talking about the things that I really liked about, network marketing. And that was that it reminded me a lot of like a recovery based atmosphere where it was just like personal development, people leaning on others for support, excitement around seeing each other and going to the meetings and all that kind of stuff. And at the time where I found recovery, I was kind of network marketing, I was kind of stagnant in my recovery, and it just kind of like really relit that desire to be something better. And I started to realize that there's way more people like me than there are of the people standing next to the Lamborghinis, hanging out in Starbucks, hanging out in gyms and stuff like that. Like, as a matter of fact, it's like they're the 3%, and the 97% is just like regular guys like you and me, regular women that don't necessarily want to flash that. And when I started talking about how I related recovery to network marketing, I started realizing like there's a lot of recovering people in network marketing. That there's a lot of other people that saw the same correlations as I did, but maybe weren't as vocal about it.
Sure.
And I just started to really lean on that and talk about that a lot. And it started to attract people to me. And I started to kind of build my list. I didn't have a product. I was just kind of building a list, trying to teach people how to get leads like I was doing. And after a few months of that, I started to learn some like how to how to work on Facebook, right? I stopped having my focus on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, you know, whatever, and really just started to dial in on one thing where I found that most of the normal people are kind of, which is Facebook and Facebook groups, right? There's tons of people that are just like down to talk to you and have communicate with you, and the easiest platform to do that in is Facebook. And exactly what you said, I went the complete opposite route. I never posted pictures of my cars. I never tried to use fancy cameras. I tried to make my funnels simple, basic, real easy to use. I started to try and teach people real simple, easy techniques instead of like building websites and all that kind of stuff. And I found that, like, you know, getting people quick, simple, easy wins is by far the best way to go.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and like that's something that obviously attracted, you know, myself and Kyle, you know, to you guys in the first place was, you know, that everything was simplified. Nothing was complicated. There wasn't like this, you know, massive course to go through. There wasn't, you know, it's like I don't know, Kyle and I have been through it. You know, a lot of people have been through, you know, like the one funnel away challenge, and like you go through that stuff, and it's complicated. Like they walk you through all these pieces of how to build the page from scratch and how to do all these things, and you got to have this funnel, and then you got to set up your email autoresponder and do all these things. And I think that's what was really cool about you guys was that, you know, especially the way that, you know, your program is nowadays is it's designed for, I'll even go as far as like the every person, right? It's designed for anybody to be able to do it with very little understanding of the inner workings of funnels and websites and all that stuff.
Right. Yeah. And that's important. That's important. And here's a little tip or a secret, like that a lot of people. Oh, okay. The harder you make something to achieve, the less likely you are to have success in it, right? The only way network marketing, so I'll keep it on network marketing, and that's just because that's my niche of people. Like you said, there are people that buy our program and they're not even in network marketing or affiliate marketing. It's because what we teach isn't specifically only going to work in network marketing. In fact, the stuff that we put in our program, most of it didn't even come from anything related to network marketing, except for like when we get into sales and marketing stuff. When I mean like setting up your foundation and your delivery and your operation. So, look, if you don't have something that's simple and duplicatable, then you're not going to be able to grow in MLM. So by teaching people how to build websites and chatbots and all this kind of stuff, like right off the rip, you're setting yourself up for failure, 100%, 100%. And yeah, and by telling people like, hey, you need this sales funnel, and you're referring to a website, you're leading them astray, because the funnel process is actually the entire thing. And like what we try and teach people is like, for example, when I made my first done for you offer, my offer was I'll redesign your Facebook profile. I will help you build a chatbot. I will work on your messaging and work on teaching how to close sales all on Messenger. And if at the very end, if you need a website funnel, then I'll also build you a website to help with your conversion. Out of like the first 10 or 12 people that I worked with, not a single one of them needed a website.
No.
Because the funnel is the entire process, right? By the time we were done setting up every other aspect, you already had what you needed. You had a sales funnel, website, which is your Facebook profile. You have some automation, which is a simple chatbot. And it's really just kind of like breaking down people's beliefs of like what you see these million upon million of dollar earners, what they're doing, and thinking that you need that when you haven't made $10 yet.
Yeah.
Right. That's a hard thing to grasp for a lot of people too, because and we see it all day long as we see people across all of Facebook land where they have all of these just gigantic sales results and all these things that they've done, and they talk about all the stuff they've got incorporated, and everybody thinks, oh, I have to have what they have to be successful. And that point you just made is like, they think about all these things they should be putting together, and yet they haven't even made any money yet.
Right.
And it's like,
there's a lot of perspective that needs to go into that, like
Right.
if you're brand new, that stuff looks daunting. Now it looks like barriers to entry and you didn't even get started, and then on top of that, all those things are layered upon time anyway. Nobody just snaps their fingers and has that whole network set up.
Well, that's
all
another.
That stuff takes time to build one after the other.
That's a good point, Kyle. Hey, guys. Your mom is Jordan is gonna help you open them, okay? That's a good point, because people definitely come in with very unreal expectations, and the reason that doesn't work is because here's something that a lot of people want, right? They want to just buy an automated business that they can just plug leads into, and it's gonna spit out money, right? That's what they want our chatbots to do for them. That's what they want all this other stuff to do for them. And a lot of times they don't understand to an extent of why they work for us, but it doesn't seem to be working for them in their business. And the difference is because there's no chatbot in the world that can build authority for you.
No.
Right? That it's simply a tool to help once you have the authority. Right? Without the authority, it's like having a bike and not knowing how to ride it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love how it all circles back to know, like, and trust ultimately, And one of the things you said earlier, David, you were talking about like when you kind of had a breakthrough, when you stopped talking about, I forget how you called it, but like the cookie cutter stuff.
We call it
in your 30-day lives. Yeah. And you started letting your personality and your own beliefs and your own crap in your life come out in your content so that you could really connect with people, and when people start seeing that you're a real person, that creates a stronger connection than any like cookie cutter email that you could send out or any solo ad you could send out.
So the way I look at it is like this, right? If somebody found you because of the product that you're selling, right? So say you're in Beachbody, okay? Just throwing these out as examples because they're MLMs, but say you're in Beachbody and somebody found you because they're looking for Beachbody products. They already want the Beachbody product.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to continue to sell them on the Beachbody product. The only thing that you have to do at this point is sell them on the person that's going to help them. So people are going to buy from people that they know, like, and trust. But part of know, liking, and trusting them is they want to know other things. Like, hey, if I buy this thing from me, how are you gonna help me achieve the result? Right. So saying like know, like, and trust, that's a broader, and then we'll get down into like sub niches, which would be like what their real desires. So the know, like, and trust, that's like an external. Then the internal is they want to buy to you because they don't trust themselves to do this thing on their own, and they want to know, if I buy from you, are you going to be there for me? Right? And there's different ways of being there for people. We always think that it's like giving somebody my one-on-one attention is going to be the best thing, but in reality, that's not always the best thing. That's part of the best thing. The best thing is to have a system for them that's simple, easy, duplicatable, and then have the support system there behind it to back them up. So we do a lot of one-on-one stuff, but most of the stuff that we do is group and community based. And we find that it helps people grow quicker, faster. They build connections, right? We try to change some belief systems where, if you look at like Eric, Fabian, and I, when we all met, like none of us were in the same network marketing company. And we weren't even in the same network marketing company when we decided to team up and be partners, right? We were 3 different guys from 3 different states, 3 different areas of the country, all in 3 different companies, but it wasn't about the actual MLM side. It was about building this community of and trying to teach network marketers how to really be marketing on Facebook. You know, so but it all adds to the authenticity of the story, right? It all adds to the authenticity of the story, that we don't have to be in the same, like and it's a breath of fresh air to people that have always been told it's this one way, it's this one way, it's this one way, it's the only way, but it's not working for them, which is what I constantly found, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have to look this way. I have to talk this way. I have to use these mannerisms. I have to be this person that I don't feel comfortable being. Otherwise, their systems aren't going to work for me. And like we just try and teach you, like listen, like people will buy from you because of you. Okay, so you don't have to like keep continuing them on this like, hey, my product's so great and blah blah blah. That's why they're talking to you in the first place. What they want to know is, who are you? Why should they trust you?
Yep.
And there's different ways to achieve that trust. However, you know, it's typically having the best, simple, duplicatable system that's going to win every single time, because people are going to ultimately choose the relief of pain, right? The relief of pain. And there's something about, I think, something about buying from somebody like me or Fabian or yourself or something like that, that I think is refreshing in this day of age, because I think that like stereotypical guru that we all think of whenever we hear that word, it's the perspective has shifted. Like I think people would much rather, most people, and I'm not talking about like first time, you know, we're always going to find the main gurus first and think that they're, you know, the king of or queen of everything. But I think that like once you start to really put down money on your education, really like if somebody finds me, they've gone down a rabbit hole.
Yep.
And the problem about them being in the rabbit hole is it's really hard to turn around once you find me.
Yep.
Because I'm so far down there that if you found me, it was by word of mouth, it was by a referral, it was by some sort of deep dive YouTube video you went down or something like that, because I'm not going to be the one with the 100,000 views on my YouTube video. I'm going to be the guy with maybe a couple thousand, but I'm just putting out quality information and I'm accessible. If you message me on YouTube, if you message me on Messenger, if you message me on Instagram, I'm going to answer you personally. You're not going to get that from Steven Brunson, or Steven, I was thinking it's
Steve
Russell
Larson.
Brunson and Steven Larson. You're not going to get that from them.
Sometimes they feel like one guy anyways.
Yeah, you're not going to get that from them, and it's nothing against them. Like as we grow, I can start to see why that happens.
Yeah.
You know, but at the same time, like no amount of automation, at least for what we're doing and what we're trying to achieve, is ever going to replace a personal connection and a personal touch. So
yeah, no, that's awesome. And you know, you're so right. And that's I actually want to touch on the rabbit hole thing, because a little backstory of kind of how I got connected with David and Fabian and Eric at the time, which was actually around the time that they started their second ramp up of their group and got to really where they are now and stuff like that. And you're totally right. It came from word of mouth. You know, I was connected to another platform that, you know, one of your guys' students, you know, Terrence, he was in that platform as well with me. And he was like, hey, you know, I noticed that you started to kind of, you know, you got a good head on your shoulders and like, let's chat. And we were chatting.
Let's be honest, he didn't say good head on your shoulders.
Actually, so what he did say is he said, I want to say it was like, you know, he's like, I like your mindset or something like that. You guys' mindset or whatever it was, who knows? But either way, the gist of it was basically, I mean, he just said, hey, I've got connected with these guys and they're pretty awesome and you should check them out. And the thing is, you know, David's point of, you know, one of the reasons I wanted to bring him on here is because that's right. Like once you get into the realm of what they do, it's hard to go back to what everybody else does, because what everybody else does seems just way over the top and like it's not necessary, right? Like all the things that these big gurus tell you that you have to do, you know, running Facebook ads and YouTube ads, and you have to get a blog up, and you have to get a funnel, and you have to get a website. All of that stuff isn't necessary to start. Now, maybe down the road, yeah, sure, having a website's awesome. I mean, they've got a website now. You know, I've got a website now, but I did that on my own accord, not because somebody told me I needed it, but because I wanted it for the extra things I was doing and things all to funnel into one spot. But like, I think that's just a cool point of just how deep the marketing world can go, and where you can find people that are actually doing really well for what they're doing, and nobody even knows they really, I mean, people know that Become the Upline exists now because it's gotten around enough that you can tell people like, oh yeah, you know, there's this thing that I'm doing. And they go, oh yeah, I've heard of that. But it's not like ClickFunnels or anything like that, where it's this widely advertised brand. It's word of mouth.
Right. Yeah, and it's a different perspective. I mean, like I look at my mentors, right? The guys that were in their mentorship program, and I never heard of these guys before Fabian and Eric brought them to me, right? And I mean, these guys have done, I mean, they may have done more than this by now, but like just since we've been with them, they had one day where they cash collected $350,000 in a day. And if you didn't know who they were, you wouldn't even know they existed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you wouldn't even know they existed. That's over $250,000 in one day.
That's crazy.
And
we gotta think about how many people there are in the world, right? Like there's what, a couple billion? Like that's a lot.
Well, so I mean, it's been a long time since I looked into all this stuff, but I used to like, I mean, not that I don't anymore, but like geek out on network marketing. Like I always look at like you don't have to go around and convince network marketing is a hot market to a network marketer. That's why I don't really talk to people about network marketing unless they're in it. Like I don't know about you guys. I know you guys are probably like sports guys. I'm like a music head. So like I look at it like if I go to a Fish show or a Grateful Dead show, like you don't have to know anybody. The second you walk down Shakedown Street, it's all love, right?
Yep.
Everybody's hugging. Here's a grilled cheese off of somebody's freaking engine that they just cooked. You know, like
Yep.
it's all up. Like you don't have to, and that's how it is. And when you go to like a network marketing event, that's how it is. Network marketing is about like culture and all that kind of stuff. So like you don't have to get like, say you went to like a GoPro or GoPro event for like Eric Worre. Like everybody there is pumped, whether or not they're in the same company or not. You know what I'm saying? Like, because network marketing itself is the hot market, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you limit yourself to a network marketing company, like that, I'm here to tell you, like that is the slowest way to get any sort of success in network marketing is by focusing on one company, one product, one service. And it's not to say go out there and run around and start, signing up for every little special offer and, having like this bag of tricks for people. It's about like really like, who are you? What do you want to help people do? How are you going to help them do it? And how are you going to deliver it, right? To make sure that they're getting the result that they're doing. What we do has really like nothing to do with a particular company or particular product. Anything that we roll out, whether you can just purchase it straight up or whether or not you have to say join a network marketing opportunity to get it, no matter what we roll out, it's still the same offer. We help network marketers get better, faster, quicker results, sell anything, move up leaderboard, like all that kind of stuff. Like we help them do that, and it doesn't matter what we're promoting. That is the offer. And if we're promoting anything else, it's just to help you get a better result. But what a
Mhm.
lot of people will do is they'll just go around and they'll be like, my person might need this type of tool, they might need this type of tool, and they need this type of tool, so I'm just going to sign up as affiliates. And the second I'm talking to everybody, I'm just going to lay it all out on the table. And it's just not the way it works. The key to, like, because you were talking about this before we started up, but like the key to multiple streams of income is one offer. One offer is the key to multiple streams of income, because there's only two ways to grow a business, right? To really, really grow a business. And that's to continuously find new customers or find more products to serve the customers you have.
Mhm.
And the second one there is way more profitable than the first one,
Yep.
because that first sale is always going to be the hardest. It's always going to be hardest. It doesn't matter if it's 4,500 or if it's 97. You know, we tell that to our people all the time, that like it's just as hard to get that $100 sale sometimes as it is to get the $4,500 sale. So which one do you want? Because if I do the $97 one, then I'm focused on doing that 45 more times a month, and that's what we did for a long time. You know, but now we kind of have the option of, you know, just bringing in a few students a month, really work with getting them, or not a month, but like a quarter, really work with them to show them how this system works and produce better results, because we're not stressed out about constantly having to have an influx of people and trying to get everybody results. So it just it took a while to get there. I mean, well, it took about a year to figure it all out, but you know, like now that once we have it figured out, like it all comes down to taking what we have put together and putting it into a rotating cycle so that we can constantly make the process better and easier and simpler, which allows us to keep putting out better content, help people get better results, and continuously make whatever tools that we've been putting out that were simple to begin with more and more simple, more and more, you know, transferable. I mean, Josh knows, if you go in any of our programs, like when we show you a strategy, we give you everything to go along with it too. It's like, here's the chatbots, here's the emails, here's the documents, here's the presentation. You know, just upload these things and change the logos and they're all yours, you know. But at the end of the day, that's not what's going to get you the result.
No.
It's building the authority, putting your message out there, being consistent, and truly caring about getting other people results, period. You can do all that without a sales funnel.
Yep. Yeah, and that's true too, and that's something that, you know, a lot of some of the stuff that's happened for, you know, even for me lately, and a lot of it's because of the strategies that, you know, I've even learned through the, you know, the program that's there. And, you know, they have a couple different programs, and, you know, I'm in one of them, and the thing about that is it was a lot of good training on the basics, the foundations, and then it went deep into the theory behind it, why it works, you know, what doesn't work, what does work. And the thing about that is those things are not just things you can learn and use, but you can transfer those to the people that you're helping, because they're evergreen, you know, tips and tricks. They're evergreen strategies that will always work. And I think that's the thing that, you know, interested me in the first place. And
it'll always work without having to spend a boatload of money.
Right. Exactly. You're not having to constantly continue to renew whatever financial commitment you have to something to get it to work. And that's something that I think that a lot of people miss out on, is that they get stuck in a lot of these companies that want to charge you, you know, $25,000 a year or $50,000 a year to be part of their program in order to have all these new strategies that come out. But when you really get down to the nitty gritty of it, it's the same strategy, just explained different, because you can't change the game so many times and expect it to continue to work the same way it worked.
Well, I'm not a huge fan of Eric Worre, which is kind of funny because I keep mentioning him right now. But he did say something in one book that always kind of stuck with me. I forget which one of the ones it was, but he said something that really resonated with me, that the concepts of marketing never change, but the application in which you go out to produce those concepts are going to be different. For example, people don't really, I mean, not everybody, but people do this, but it's not as much as it used to be, where you're just mailing out letters, right? Then that kind of went to email, right? Now, to be honest with you, like, I mean, I know a lot of people still do emails. I think it's a complete waste of time. Like, people just don't read emails, right? So now it's in Messenger, you know, but the concept of like what that does is the same. But the way in which we're doing the concept to produce the result that the concept would deliver, that is constantly changing. So, and, you know, like, I look at it like, you know, I have kind of a construction background too. And it's like, I always think it's funny when like a new tool comes out, or a new way to do something, like say tiling or something like that. They came out with all these things a couple years ago with they're called levelers, and they're like little clips that you put into your long form tiles. And what it does is it makes sure that all your tiles sit completely smooth, right? There's no lips, there's no nothing. And when you have long form tiles, you get those a lot, right? Where one side might be like a 1/4 inch higher or an 1/8 of an inch higher, and you feel that stuff when you're walking around. So somebody came up with this awesome idea to make these little clips that you put underneath the tiles, and then once you put the tiles on, you slide the clip in, and it sucks the edges down so that everything is perfectly level. It's a tile leveling system, right? If you go on the internet, there's going to be 95% reviews on a lot of these things that say, hey, this is amazing, great idea, blah, blah, blah. But there's always going to be those tilers from 1980, like, oh, if you need this, then you're just not a good tiler, and blah, 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 which just isn't true. But even regardless, it's like, yeah, this is like modern technology. That's like having like the first iPod, and then they come out with the iPhone, and they're like, if you need an iPhone to do everything that you would do with an iPod, then you know, you just lazy or whatever. It's like, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
We're constantly evolving. When something new comes out, it's because it's solving a problem that the last version didn't have.
Yeah. All those other people are just fearful of change, right?
Right. Absolutely. Well, whenever there's change, there's always going to be pushback. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, and that's a good point too, of like the fundamentals of the things that are done are always going to be the same. And we just add in, you know, technology, we add in, you know, different strategies, things like that, things that we can do to make those fundamentals better
or easier.
Yeah, or easier, right? You know, and that's really what's happened a lot with, you know, the marketing aspect within Messenger, is that now, you know, Messenger is connected to everything. If you run a Facebook ad, if you have your profile, you have your business page, you have whatever it is that you've got running on, Messenger is always connected to all that.
Yeah.
And so
you also have to think about too, you got to meet people where they're at, right?
Right. Yeah.
So
I mean, if you're talking to someone on Facebook, you're going to talk to them in Messenger. Like, that's just the gist of it. You're not going to go mail someone a letter and put a link in the letter and say, get me on, you know, m.me/JM Schonert. Like, it doesn't make sense, because you're hitting the wrong person. Because if they opened that letter, chances are they probably aren't going to be hopping on the internet anytime soon. You know, most of the time, because I'll tell you what, if I get a letter from a random person and I open it up, they're like, hey, let me tell you about this. I'm like, nope, rip, garbage, thank you, bye. You know, but there's people I know even on my block that they, like, our neighbor, she's 78, and like, she loves getting mail. And so it's kind of the other thing. I'm like, if I get mail, it better be something important, like a bill of some sort, because junk mail is just like, it's so bad these days. But it's the same thing, like you talked about email, right? There's so much email out there that's just junk. And, you know, I think that you know, any of these strategies can still work if they're done in the right way, but there's some that just work better than others.
Right.
And you guys have basically perfected that. I mean, you guys have gotten to a point where, you know, I've seen some of the conversations that, you know, you guys teach in terms of the Messenger closing and things like that. And there's very little people out there that teach it the way you guys teach it. which is pretty cool. So one of the final questions I had, I got two more questions because I wanted to get people to understand kind of what it takes, because I know there's a lot of people out there that say like, oh, I can't be like them because that's just too much. Like, talk about, if you would, like, number one, like how you, Eric, and Fabian kind of got together and started Clever Moneymakers, and then what it takes to kind of just keep that going. Like, because I think that information, people just disconnect with that fact of, they say, well, I want to do what they do, but I can't do that because it looks hard.
Well, so Clever Moneymakers was like a Facebook group I kind of made up. Just kind of like came to me, and I made it, and I was just putting my leads in there. And when I say leads, like going back, I didn't even have really anything I wanted to sell. I was just trying to build a list and provide people good content, and that's how I met Eric and Fabian. And when I launched my original program, the MLM Lead Machine program, in December of 2019, then 1 second. That's it. I just been given a 10-minute warning here.
Okay.
Yeah, so they were one of the first people to buy the program. Okay. And I turned around and, they were, Eric was picking up a lot of what I was doing and, just doing great things. He was the first person I asked to partner with me. And then, Fabian he just had this like commanding voice, so I started asking him if he wanted to help start teaching things. And then eventually we just kind of turned around and, decided to try to make it legitimate. But all this happened in a year. It was a year. So I launched my initial program by myself in December 2019. And
yeah, this was just the last year.
Yeah, and up until I launched that program, I was still at that like only recruited about 7 people, right? One of which was my dad. I launched the MLM Lead Machine program, and then so we started bringing people into that. And then we did officially launch an MLM offer in like the end of March, early April of last year. So guy that never recruited really anybody, especially cold online. Anybody that I did recruit, I knew them personally. And then 3 months after we launched the program, we launched an MLM offer that was an automated system. It was basically the same system that we were bringing people in through to buy our program, which was way cheaper at the time. But we were like, I wonder if this will work for our MLM. And in the first 2 months, I think we recruited over 200 people. Just
That's
like
awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, just like that. And it kind of like really like changed my perspective of like what people really want in this industry. It's not the stuff that, like, the only way to really know what your audience wants is to ask them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is what I try and tell people all the time, where they're saying like, well, I want to build everything out and it's got to be perfect and it needs to be, you're never really going to know or have a perfect system until you have people that already want what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that are going to tell. So like people always like, they want this crazy chatbot, but then turn around and like they have no idea what to put in it. My chatbots in the very beginning were super, super stupid simple. I just kept adding more to them based on conversations that I was having with people, right? Well, I noticed, because we run through scripts, whether you're doing it manually or you're doing it through a chatbot. So what I eventually started was like, okay, so here's my lead magnet. Here's what I'm giving somebody. Well, this is typically the first thing they say to me when I do reach out to them personally through the chatbot. So why don't I just add this into the chatbot? Then they typically give me one of these answers. So I'll just give them one of these answers to choose from. When they say that, then this typically goes here, and then it typically goes here. And by the end of the day, now we have these crazy long chat bots, but they're all based on what our ideal customer wants and would say, and directed in ways that give us the information that we want without being like too, forward or whatever like that. So, but all that happened in about a year. Like I said, I've only been in marketing for a little bit over 2 years. So I don't know where it is.
No, what I love about that, though, we were talking about that earlier, Josh, where you were saying, there's all these elaborate systems, and people want these big elaborate things, but you just got to start small, and then you build over time. You figure out what works for you, figure out what works for your audience, and then you add this next thing, right? So a simple chatbot starts, and then you get into the real conversation. You know exactly what those over testing and time and split testing and all that stuff, you know what those are going to be. So then you add it in your bot, that you just got to start and then apply what you learn.
One thing that I was always very good at was just taking what we call imperfect action. And when somebody would teach me something, I would go and try and do it, and then I would try to optimize on top of that. Like, don't be afraid to just get out there and do it. One of the best things about marketing on Facebook is if you say something stupid to somebody or you're embarrassed or you don't ever have to talk to that person again. So what are you worried about?
Right.
Yep.
One thing I love about getting a no from a stranger is it doesn't hurt as much as getting a no from your best friend. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, oh, there's another one, 3 more no's, and I'll probably get a yes. Like, let's go. You know what I mean? So it's also just about knowing what your customer needs, knowing when they need it, knowing how to give it to them. So there's this, what we call the 5 containers, and they're in order for a reason, right? But typically people are going to come to you and they're going to say, hey, I want money, I want time freedom, I want, these things. But in order to achieve time, money, and time freedom, you need a system, right? You need automation, you need operations, you need fulfillment, right? You need delivery. Those are the things that you need, but they don't sound as sexy as the other things, But my time is running up here. I should cut you guys off, but I got these freaking kids.
You gotta do what you gotta do. We appreciate the time you're able to spend with us, man.
Yeah, dude, this has been awesome, and honestly, I'm glad to I'm glad to see that things are doing well. I love the shirts and all the swag you guys have been throwing out there. It's been awesome, and I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day and getting on here and talking to everybody. Just letting us know, really that you can be a regular person. You can be a dad and a like you said, you've got a construction background. I know plenty of guys out there that have a construction background that think that they can't make marketing work, but they totally can. So,
dude, a friend of mine, construction background, had his first 20K week last week.
Right. So,
like anybody can do it if you have the right tools and you have the right mindset. Well, and then
for sure,
push on.
Cool.
Well, again, let me do my little shameless plug here real quick.
Yeah, good.
So we're going to be doing another 5-day challenge. It's going to be coming up on February 8th. The last time we did that challenge, we were able to bring in like over 20 people into our mentorship program. We've been working with them. I mean, we have people right now that are, they're doing their first $1,000 days. All sorts of awesome stuff. And, even if you don't end up joining the program at the end of it, it's going to be 5 days of some killer trainings. The last time we were doing this, people were telling us on day 2 that they've got more value out of a free training than they have out of $1,000 courses that they've purchased. So that's going to be February 8th. If you want to register for this, I hope I don't screw this up, but I believe the website is www.btuchallenge.com. That's btuchallenge.com. And just go on there, free to register, free to come. No obligation to buy anything or join the program. Just come and see what we're about, what we're doing. It's going to have you register through our chatbot. You'll get invited to our free Facebook group, and it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. The last one was just, it blew my mind, and we're going to be giving away a lot of free stuff. We're going to be giving away a scholarship to whoever does all the assignments. That's a $4,500 basically free ticket in your pocket just for showing up and doing the simple homework exercises. And yeah, I was super excited about that.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I got the link up there right now for people that can see it. For those of you that are listening on the podcast, that is btuchallenge.com, and we're going to have it in the comments here in the Facebook post as well. And David, again, thank you so much, man. It's been a pleasure. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you getting on here with us. It's been awesome to hear all the things that's been going on with you guys, seeing what you guys have been doing. And, we can't wait to see what happens here in the coming, months and years with you guys. It's going to be awesome.
Well, thanks, guys. Appreciate you having me on, and we'll do this again soon. All right.
Absolutely. Sure, our pleasure.
Take it easy, man.
Later.
That was fun.
Yeah, man. So thanks everybody for hanging out with us. We appreciate you all. We appreciate everybody, sticking around and, interacting with us and being able to check out David and his stuff. So if anybody's got anything else that they want to hear from us, or anybody they think that we should get on live with us, definitely let us know. We're open to it.
Speaking of Ask the Audience, right?
Yeah. Speaking of Ask the Audience. Yeah. So, but yeah, we want to do more of that stuff. We want to be able to showcase people who, are successful or even not, right? We want to just, be able to bring dads on here, and be able to have them be able to show that they can do it too. So appreciate everybody's time, and you all have yourself a wonderful day.